Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's Heather here at Lake Geneva Country Meats, and today I'm going to show you how to make a black and tan pork tenderloin with a spicy ale coleslaw. And last year we had our stew packets, and we'll have those again this year, so don't worry. You can click here and you can view the recipe there. But this is something different that you can do for St. Patrick's Day. Of course, it has the beer in it, so it goes right along with it. And what I did, the first step is I took 3 pork tenderloins and I have them marinating in Smithwick's, which is a pale ale beer, and I have cayenne pepper and salt and pepper. And what I did was I just placed it in a bag, I added all the ingredients, and I just put it in the fridge and let it marinate for about 2 to 3 hours. And I just pulled that out. I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees, and I'm just going to add the pork tenderloin to my sheet pan. I reserved a 1/4 cup of the sauce because I'm going to use that for our coleslaw later. So you're just going to take the pork tenderloin, lay them out on the sheet pan. And then we're going to want to discard the rest of this because it's been sitting in pork. So we're just going to take our pork tenderloins, place them in our 375 degree oven, and we're going to bake that for about a half an hour to 40 minutes or until it reaches an internal temperature of 160 degrees. So while that's baking, I'm going to show you the other 2 steps while that's going, and then everything will be done approximately the same time. So the next step I have is our coleslaw. Now this has to sit in the refrigerator for a half an hour, so that's why I'm going to start with this. I have our green peppers, red onion, carrots, and then the cabbage. So I have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I have 2 tablespoons of honey, and then I'm going to take the rest that I had reserved from our pork tenderloin, and I'm going to add that. I'm just going to whisk it all together, making sure that you get the honey off the bottom. Once you get it all whisked together, I'm just going to add it over top of the coleslaw. The honey might stick to the bottom. You could use a spoon or a spatula. Once you have it all in there, you could use a glove or you could use tongs to mix it with. I'm going to use a glove just to make sure that I get everything fully coated. So I'm just going to mix that all together, making sure you're tossing everything in it so that it marinates in the sauce. Once you notice that your cabbage and your vegetables are all nice and covered, we're just going to cover this with some plastic, and we're going to put this in the fridge for half an hour. Alright, now that I have the coleslaw in the fridge, I'm going to start working on the glaze. And all I did was put a little bit of olive oil down at the bottom of the pan and added my minced garlic and my diced onions. So I'm just going to wait until they become a little bit soft, and I've already had these going for a couple minutes. So now I'm just going to add the next couple ingredients. So I have some fresh ginger that I'm going to add about a teaspoon of. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And about 2 tablespoons of Guinness. I think that's a little bit more. And we are just going to mix this all together, and then we're going to bring it to a boil. Now it's better to do when you're doing a sauce to have a flatter pan so that your boiling starts a little bit sooner. When you have a smaller pan, it takes a little bit longer to bring it to a boil. So once it's boiling, then we are going to add the rest of our brown sugar. And you can already smell the ginger. It's a very strong smell. And we're going to add the rest of the can of the Guinness. Mix that all together. And we have 1 cup of honey. This you're going to need a spatula for because it's going to stick to your measuring cup. And once you add the honey, then we're just going to whisk everything together. You're also going to want to keep this on a higher heat because we're going to bring this to a boil and we're going to let it simmer. And we're going to want to let it reduce to about half. This is so that the glaze becomes thicker for the top of the slaw and for the pork tenderloin. Once you have everything whisked together, then we're just going to leave it on a high, bring it to a boil, reduce to a medium, and then let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so we've let our sauce reduce, and I added a little bit of cornstarch just to thicken it up a little bit more. So we're going to start by, I had pulled the pork tenderloin out and I let them rest for about 5 minutes. So now I'm just going to show you how you can cut them on a bias for a presentation. So I just have one of the pork tenderloins. I'm going to start down on the end, and you're going to start with the knife pointing almost towards you, and you're just going to slice down, making a bias cut all the way down the pork tenderloin. Now you can just cut it straight across if you wanted, but this is just a different way to present it on a plate. So what I do is I just take the end part off, and I save that for later so I can test it. But I add one of the pork tenderloins to our plate, and I'm just going to fan it out. I'll turn the plate. And I'll take the second pork tenderloin and do the same thing. And the last one. You can also just have this plated also, but this is a different way that you can have it right on the table for everyone to see before everyone devours it. Then we're going to add our slaw, which has been marinating for about a half an hour. It looks very pretty. It's going to add a bright color to our plate. So I'm just going to add that right up at the top here. And once you add your slaw, then now we're going to top it off with our glaze, which smells so delicious. And I've already tried it and it tastes delicious. It's a sweet taste, and you can taste the beer in it. So bring the plate closer. And we're going to top it off on the pork tenderloin and also our slaw. And just a little for the top. So there we have it. It was a very simple recipe. It's something different to try for this St. Patrick's Day. We have all the ingredients here at Lake Geneva Country Meats. So stop on in and enjoy this recipe at home with friends or family. But now I have to try it for myself. Mm.